Hi, also welcome to the today's tutorial. So today we will go forth in the class and we will see like previously we have seen like how we can create objects and what's the difference between class and the objects. And today we will see how we can save the multiple students information, and we will also see what is constructor and what is copy constructor, and then we will go forth. So previously this is what we have covered, right? So let me do one thing. So if you haven't watched the previous tutorial, I would recommend to do that. So I will create one more variable called student2, and we'll save the information. So right now we do have, I will say this is Raj2, this is Raj2 address, mail, and class is primary. If I will print, you can see it is Raj information, it is Raj2 information. So it will be a complex task. So what, like in class, when we create a class, there is something called a default constructor. So default constructor means it will create a function by default without without informing anyone. So this is this is what we call the default constructor. So the function name will be the same as the class name. So the class name was student, so here it is the default constructor. Got it? So this is the default constructor. This is how we can write. So as soon as I will so this is default constructor. Okay, and here as soon as I will create the object of the class, it will, so this is the first function which get called, right? So before, so as soon as this line will execute, this function will run, then it will store the information, then we will print the value. Okay, so we can create multiple variants of constructor too. So what I mean by variant, so if I will create one more constructor, so default constructor means I'm not passing anything. If I will apply the some input, so let's imagine here I will do std string name comma std string address, and will to make process faster 6 comma class. So, and I will put underscore just to have the differentiation between the variable names, because we already have those variables named, so it might give us some error. So here we have two type of constructor now. Here this is the default constructor and this is the parameterized constructor, which so here it is taking 4 input, right? So here what I will do, if I do want, like if I'm using this constructor, I will save this information like this. We can also address sex and class equals to underscore class. So instead of this, like previously we were storing this data like this, but here now this is the default constructor. If you see, like this is how usually we call the function, right? This is the way, and this is the same way we are calling the constructor. Here if I will not use this one, but instead of this I will pass this Raj comma, this is Raj address comma mail comma primary. So you can see I am doing the same thing but other way, like I'm not using the same way but the other way around. So control D, I'm duplicating the value, and this is for student 2, and here I will apply the Raj 2, and this is the Raj 2 address, and sex is male, and the class is primary. So everything is remain the same, but things are slight different now. So let's try to run this program. See, this is exactly the same, right? So this is one thing how we usually use constructor. And let's imagine sometimes we do want to store the default value as soon as we will create the constructor. So this is what we usually do in the constructor. So let's imagine by default we want like sex to to be male and class to be like primary class, primary, so some default value. You got my point, right? So this is what we can do. And there is one more way we can achieve the same thing. Like if we will write something like this. So what we are doing here, we have put colon here, and we will write the main class variable here, and inside this we will pass the variable which we do want to store. So this is kind of exactly same we are doing here, and we can remove this. So this is much cleaner way to do that. And here we can do this. This is parameterized constructor. Parameterized, I think my spelling is wrong. If yes, do ignore it. Let's try to run the program again, and everything is working, and this is saying okay, this is the parameterized constructor named Raj. So I think now you do have the fair understanding what is constructor. So this is not the copy constructor between. So this was the default constructor because we were not passing anything. So if I will remain, if I will delete everything, and I do want like to have the default name if we are not saving anything. So by default I have put okay, name is male, address is primary. This is by default, and here I'm not passing any arguments here, and I'm not using the parameters constructor. If I will play the program here, see, it is saying this is the default constructor, name is male, address primary, sex male, and class primary. In the second part it is saying okay, this is the parameterized constructor, Raj2, address Raj2, sex male, and class primary. Okay, so this was it. This is how we usually use the constructor. So constructor are the functions which will be called first, like inside the class. And this the default constructor we usually use to initialize the values usually. So there is something called deconstructor also. So as soon as we have created the object, right? So if we will delete the object, sometimes we do want to release the memory. So the how we will define it, we will just have to put this sign, and we will create the function like we have created the default constructor. So this is what we call the destructor. So this is default destructor, you can say. And if we will run the program, you can see it is saying this is the destructor, this is the destructor, because there were two objects, student and 1 and 2. As soon as it will hit the return 0, here we have we are out of scope, and it will delete the object. Or one of the way we can actually do, let's create the scope here, and we will shift these two line here, okay. And okay, so if I will run the program here, you can see now the destructor called before creating the parameterized constructor. So here what we are doing, as we have created the scope, so as soon as the program will execute, will become out of this scope, it will delete this object just to have the optimization part. So as soon as I'm out of this scope, I cannot access the student one. So student one is not coming out. It will give me that error. Okay, one is not there because we have defined a scope here. I think now you do have fair understanding of constructor, deconstructor. And if we do want to go forth, we can also define an array. Like in array, we can store the students, multiple students name, but we will keep that info for the future tutorial. I think now you do have the fair understanding. In the next tutorial, it will be our last class for the C++ introduction. Then we will start a game, so we can, we can see how we will implement all this information which we have learned in our real time program. So this was it. Have a nice day and thank you. If you do liking this tutorial, do like and subscribe. Bye bye.